Bloomberg 2020 bid. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg's announcement of his candidacy for the 2020 presidential election has complicated the Democratic races even more. The billionaire's bid has led to backlash from White House officials as well as other candidates, such as Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren.
I saw your tweet about Mayor Bloomberg's ad buy, that it's the most of any presidential candidate ever. In your mind, is he a candidate? Is he already running?
I don't know, but I do know this, and that is elections should not be for sale. Not to billionaires, not to corporate executives. We need to build a grassroots movement. That's how democracy is supposed to work.
Warren and Sanders, particularly famous for speaking against billionaires, took the opportunity to lash out at Bloomberg for trying to buy U.S. elections. But does America really want another billionaire in the White House?
The bigger question, is the American electorate ready to accept a race potentially between two white male billionaires in a country that has become ever more diverse and a country that is embracing diversity? This is a country that elected Barack Obama enthusiastically and actually has a yearning for his presidency. Granted, Mayor Bloomberg is not Donald Trump. However, there is a distrust by the American electorate of billionaires. They seem to equate billionaires with oligarchs.
Under pressure over the Ukraine scandal, the Trump administration is making sure to benefit from Bloomberg's 2020 bid and use it to divide the left. Figures such as counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, rushed to the U.S. media to assert that the country does not need another builder, as one has already been elected to office.
What do you think the 77-year-old billionaire joining means for the field?
It means that the Democratic field is underwhelming, even to someone like Michael Bloomberg. There are 18 Democrats still running for President of the United States, Margaret, with probably another 10 or 12 already dropped out of the race. And it's Michael Bloomberg coming in saying, I don't think any of you can beat Donald Trump. For all the talk about electability, that's a fiction. You don't know if somebody can or can't win until they do or don't. The real way that you win is through the Electoral College, which we proved in 2016. So I think Bloomberg's play here is to ignore those early states.
Just like the current president, Bloomberg is a billionaire, but with a net worth estimated at $58 billion, making him the 9th richest person in the United States and the 14th richest person in the world.
I do not believe Michael Bloomberg himself will have an impact politically. I believe his money will, in terms of his ad buy, which is about $30 million. There is a realignment taking place in the Democratic Party, and the concept of a billionaire being able to influence the Democratic primary is going to have a negative influence in the leftward trajectory. There is a moderate wing of the Democratic Party that is concerned about the leftward trajectory. The problem is Mayor Bloomberg should have gotten in much earlier so he could have competed in Iowa, in New Hampshire, and South Carolina.
Despite his similarities to Trump, Bloomberg has significant differences with the president. Being a Democrat, Bloomberg is not a climate change denier like Trump and the majority of Republicans. He also promotes stricter gun laws and health care for every American.
Well, I think there are three big problems that the world has to worry about. One is climate change, because you can destroy every living thing. Two is nuclear war, which come back on the radar because of North Korea. You could destroy an awful lot of the world. And three, job destruction from technology, which is destabilizing the world. Climate change is something it's easy to do something about because we know how to do it. I don't know what you do about North Korea. I don't know what you do about creating jobs, at least the number that we're going to need around the world. But climate change, if you stop putting crap into the air is not going to, the planet's not going to absorb as much heat from the sun. It will reflect more off, and the temperature won't go up.
Yet Bloomberg's bid is being criticized by the anti-Trump voters, who argue that his candidacy would make the already overcrowded Democratic field even more complicated, an issue that could help Trump get reelected.
Well, it would be par for the course. My personal position on American democracy is it's specifically designed to prevent change. And that could be the reason for Mayor Bloomberg's entry into the race by the establishment. He could very well have been talked into this by the establishment in an effort to smart the leftward trajectory of the Democratic Party. I don't think that that's going to be stopped. I believe the Democratic Party is on a leftward trajectory that cannot be stopped.
Bloomberg announced his candidacy, arguing that Trump was on the course to emerge victorious yet again after the 2020 presidential vote. The billionaire asserts that there is no candidate in the Democratic field fit enough to take on the former reality TV star.
The battle of the billionaires is on. Michael Bloomberg officially jumping into the 2020 race and wasting no time going after President Trump.
I decided to run because I think it's time for a change at the top in the White House. Donald Trump's not been a good president. We need to change that. And also, this country is being pulled apart. We need to pull it together and make sure that we help everybody across the country share in the great American dream.
Bloomberg is also media savvy, given the fact that he owns Bloomberg LP, a privately held financial software, data, and media company headquartered in Midtown Manhattan.
I don't believe Mayor Bloomberg is going to be successful as Donald Trump was, because Donald Trump was not perceived and did not embrace that billionaire status the way he did. He bragged about it, but the American electorate gave him a pass on it. They will not give Bloomberg a pass on it.
Bloomberg is joining industry-friendly centrist candidates on one side, prompting a tougher rivalry with more progressive populists like Sanders and Elizabeth on the other. Being a billionaire, he has vowed to fund his campaign by himself.
Now, I know how to take on the powerful special interests that corrupt Washington. I know how to win because I've done it time and again. We need a president who is ready to lead us where we need to go, in ways that we can be proud of. Someone with the experience to hit the ground, ready to go. I am that person, and that's why I'm running. I will be the only candidate in this race who isn't going to take a penny from anyone and will work for $1 a year, just as I did for 12 years in New York City Hall.
For now, Bloomberg's announcement through his television ad blitz is strengthening dilemma among the people, with American voters wondering whether to stick to President Trump or to turn to uncertainty currently prevalent in the Democratic campaigns.
The days of Hillary Clinton and the corporatist wing of the Democratic Party, which also included the rabid pro-Israel bent, are going to die on the vine. So I just think that we're seeing a realignment of the Democratic Party, and Mayor Bloomberg's entry into the race is an attempt to prevent that realignment, and it's not going to be successful.
Bloomberg's candidacy is also another test of America's version of democracy. Washington is actually being run by corporations and interest groups who exert inimitable power over policymaking.
For years, I've been using my resources for the things that matter to me. I was lucky enough to build a successful company. It has been very successful, and I've used all of it to give back to help America. I'm committed to fight for gun safety. I'm committed to fight for stopping climate change, which is a disaster for us. I'm committed to doing things like I was lucky enough to be able to help flip the House from Republican to Democratic control, so that the House provided some oversight of the president, which the Republican House before that had not done that.
Bloomberg's possible victory could signify more than ever before how corporations and the 1% in America owns the White House and other branches of the government.
He could have competed in Iowa, in New Hampshire, and South Carolina. His decision to forego those early primaries and lose the momentum that he might have received is going to be politically devastating to him.
Bloomberg's bid may potentially reveal corruption within the Democratic Party, which has proven not to be democratic in its nomination process. A living example of that is Vermont Senator Sanders, who was not nominated by the Democratic National Committee ahead of the 2016 presidential election.
We generated a whole lot of excitement in our campaign from working people, from young people who really want to bring about profound change in this country, and they're prepared to work for that. And I think the Democratic leadership understands that we need to bring those people into the party. We need to transform the party. We need to make the Democratic Party a Democratic Party with a small d. So all of you, come on in. We need your help.
The DNC simply turned to one of its most corrupted members, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, despite Bernie's extensive grassroots movements in 2016. The decision prevented Sanders from running independently and finally put Trump in office, an issue affecting policymaking in America for decades to come.
The Supreme Court decision in Citizens United essentially said money is speech. Now, that is something that I personally find egregious and don't agree with, just as well as the court has ruled that corporations are persons.
With another billionaire joining the race along with Trump, an American billionaire and hedge fund manager Tom Steyer, the role that billionaires and corporations at their disposal play in U.S. politics and elections would be further highlighted.
Trump is so bad as a president, been so corrupt as a president, that everybody in America who's ever been involved in politics, especially if they have $1 billion, thinks they can beat Trump.
That has led to a rise in concerns that Trump might take the chance and run with the ball like in 2016, when his unexpected victory defied all polls and put the world in a state of shock.
It's going to be very hard to prevent billionaires from having an influence in elections. Keep in mind, there's already another billionaire in the Democratic race named Tom Steyer, who has spent millions of his own money prior to the current impeachment proceedings promoting impeachment. One might say that impeachment has been received as much as it is in the Democratic side of the political sphere because of Tom Steyer's PR campaign on behalf of impeachment.